welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very European clash. Two teams that have faced each other many, many times over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months. There's been a few changes in between there, but it is, of course, Game Lord up against Team Queso. Both of these teams have faced each other in best of fives multiple times. And if you look at the points, you'd say Queso, they're the favorite, but I gotta be honest, I don't think there's a favorite in this game.
I think it's very difficult to have a favorite in this matchup. I think, Queso and Game Lord, both incredibly good teams. I think Game Lord obviously came off with confidence in their first game. It was really, really strong performance from them versus Na'Vi. I mean, I think Queso are going up against an incensed, invigorated, Unicorns of Love, who have now suddenly put themselves as tournament favorites from their performance from the first 2 games. So they were winning for the most part. There was one team fight. So I think both teams can be pretty happy with, for the most part, how their first games went. And this will be a test of that Group A seeding, whether it is true to life coming into this LAN.
Yeah, for Queso, like you say, it was a very controlled, very impressive performance up until a single team fight. A single team fight was all that decided it. And it probably hurt. It probably hurt them. They went back after that and probably think, how did we go wrong with that? The split comp was working well. Let's have a look at the pick and ban zone and see how this is going to play out. Remember that Ari may be sneaking through. We've got a couple of 100% bans as well that have already been going through the day. Akali is being taken away. Probably expect the Ziggs to follow that one, and the Senna, etc. that have been in there 100% bans so far. There's the Ziggs. What a surprise.
You can tell that 100% ban is going to come through if you've got an R1 ban every time. There's no chance you're leaving it open. Just that Ziggs is never going through if you're on red side.
And it's always red side.
Yeah, it's always red side because you want to first pick it if you're blue side, clearly. It will be the Lee Sin ban here, so Zefter's not going to get his hands on Lee Sin this time round. The Akali ban as well is a pick that Random does like to play in the Baron lane too. Camille will come through against Acolyte and Andre, a double whammy there. So they're going to try and limit some of their champion pool on top sides and the map. Try
and cut away some of that split push that was working out well for Queso up until it wasn't. And of course, we'll see whether it continues that way. Senna still available. Just going to throw that one out there. The Gragas as well. I think Gragas is probably like 100% pickle ban right now. Somewhere in and around there.
he's almost certainly in that region. I think Gragas, especially because I know that Random is an absolutely excellent Gragas player. It's whether Team Queso want to pick that up. We know that Memorize plays it in the support role, so it would make sense for a first pick on blue side if they don't ban it. And I think if Game Lord don't take the Gragas away in the bans, I'm expecting that to get picked up by Team Queso on a blue 1 pick.
And the Senna is indeed remaining 100% ban rate along there. What's he got in his book for us here? What's he gonna pull out? Let's look into the team, thinking, all right, which we're gonna go with. It's an Ari, focused, of course, against Veos.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double whammy, really, because both Game Lord and Team Queso love Ari in the middle side of the map. So, I think...
he's not focused it against himself.
I think it's a double whammy ban here because both Queso and Game Lord contest Ari in terms of picking the mid lane. As I said, though, wouldn't be surprised to see a Gragas blue 1 here for Queso. It goes over to Memorized most of the time in the support role, but it is something that I'm expecting Game Lord to want to draft if they don't get their hands on it, or if it doesn't get picked up early on in the draft phase for Queso.
So where do we go first? Let's just say the Gragas 100% pick or ban is available. Probably expecting it as a first pick. What a shocker.
I'm not a prophet, mate. I'm just...
I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes these are pretty obvious.
Look, mate, don't take it away from me. We're calling it for about 20 seconds at least, man. We're going to see the Riven locked in here for Game Lord. I'm not sold on the Riven yet.
No Lee Sin Riven, by the way.
No, we can't
the combo's not available.
But I'm not sold on the Riven yet, but I do like the addition of the Riven into the Galio. I think that's, a nicer combo. You can maybe follow up on Riven's engages in the team fights. I think, obviously Random plays a mean Riven. We saw it in his game versus Na'Vi, and I like the addition of the Galio to this comp.
So Fiora has been banned a lot so far today. I'm not quite sure it's quite at 100%, but the first time outing, we're going to get to see her alongside the Darius. That is a lot of damage.
Oh my goodness, that is a Darius, Gragas, Fiora, which makes me...
support Gragas, perhaps?
Support Gragas, jungle Fiora.
I think so,
is where we're looking at here. So jungle Fiora, you might think, what the bloody hell am I watching? Jungle Fiora has been popularized. It has been a pick that's come...
It was Clue playing Gragas support last time,
No, it was Memorize playing Gragas support.
Was it Memorize?
So Memorize plays Gragas support. He's the only support that's played Gragas
sorry, Memorize, yes. He played it against... Unicorns of Love.
Yep. Do you know? I know you're.
Like
I know you're pushing
mind.
60, mate. But,
look, we're on game 5. It's been a long day, and we're mixing up the teams. It's not like we've had 5 games of the same series, which you get these days. It's 5 individual.
I'm messing with you.
But look at this. We've got the Diana coming in. The Corki comes out, and the Vayne for the first time.
Yeah,
today.
you know, I was expected to see some Vayne this tournament. Vayne has been a pick that has been highly prioritized by AD carries in the European scene, and I think given the current state of Wild Rift, it's very easy to scale her into the late game. It gives you a late game win condition as well in team fights, regardless of how bad your team fight is in terms of compositionally. A Vayne adds that X factor that can always pop off, and especially without a Twisted Fate on the other side, there is outplay potential that always exists here with the Renekton being locked in as well.
The first Renekton today. So I'm actually surprised it took 5 games before we've had a Renekton come out here. So that is, of course, going to be for random. I would presume on the top lane is where that's going to go, which means it's going to be probably Fiora in the jungle.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely Fiora jungle. So random's going to be taking that Renekton to the top side of the map, and then we're going to see the Riven in the mid in the jungle, which means that actually that matchup's not as easy for Fiora. You pick Fiora for dueling potential and dueling potential alone. She wants to fight the other jungler and she wants to take him down in the early game. Riven's not going to let that happen. She's got too much mobility and she's a better duelist than you as well. So that is going to be something to keep our eyes on here. Team Queso, whether they can make that Fiora jungle work.
Well, what is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Number 2 and number 3 from both Group A, they have faced each other so many times, they have beaten each other so many times, but here is a best of 1 for the Origin Series. For Game Lord, it would put them 2-0 at the top of the table alongside the Unicorns of Love, and for Queso would be their first win of the day after losing out against the Unicorns of Love earlier on. A big upset, certainly, I would say. Some big surprises. The Unicorns of Love have turned up. I love it. It's absolutely turned the teams on their head, which makes this game even more important right now. Who is going to come out top? Come on, I want to put your money where your mouth is. Where's it going to go?
Game Lord.
Game Lord.
Yeah, I'm thinking Game Lord. I think
I
think their comp works. I think the comp's really nice. I think you can deal with Fiora jungle relatively easily here. And I think the Vayne gives you that little X factor in the late game team fights. I don't see a good way on Team Queso's comp to efficiently deal with the Vayne.
We'll see whether it can get through. Of course, whether the Vayne has time to come into our own, because it does take a little while for ramp up, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's
but judging by the 2 team comps, I feel this is going to be a long game.
Judging by the average length of game that we've had in this tournament so far, especially the ones that weren't just absolute stomps, which were the Na'Vi games, unfortunately. The rest of the games, I think they've been relatively late game focused. We've at least seen 3 items on the major carries, and Vayne with 3 items in this game wrecks. Absolutely tears people apart.
Yeah, well, if you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to start with to the Wild Rift Origin Series Championships, where you've been for the last 3 months. We're at the finals. We are live in Stockholm. The teams are all here. The players are all here. The casters are all here. And you know what? We're going to be getting into the game. Let's get Game 5 underway.
5th game of the day here, D-Man. I'm excited about it. Game Lord versus Queso, and Game Lord have really sprung out in this competition. Got a great win versus Na'Vi early on. Now is their time to prove themselves. Acolyte, a little bit of a heartbreaking loss, rather. Team Queso had 2 Unicorns of Love. They were winning until they weren't, as we said.
I mean, it's as the adage goes, it literally was. They were 4,000 goal in advantage, but that just never ruled yourself out, and that's exactly how Unicorns work themselves. We do, of course, have a couple of the old-fashioned lanes, I think it's safe to say. The Darius versus Renekton. This is like days gone by, back in Season 3 times. I'm talking League of Legends, by the way, here, which is obviously where Wild Rift has come from, the Season 3 days, many moons ago. And of course, the Fiora in the jungle. We are expecting Ruiz to be a little bit defensive at the start. As I say that, I can see them both trading blows. Veos taken pretty low as well. Veos actually coming down on top in that one, so a bit of Honey Fruit being sucked up by Ruiz, and Veos will do the same.
I think I really like the addition of the Galio here as well. Galio is like super anti-melee. If you can get him surviving in a team fight, if you can keep him at least getting at least 1 taunt off or a knock-up up, he's a very strong anti-melee champ. How many melee champs do the Team Queso have? They have got 4. And so therefore you're relying heavily on Ibu with that Corki. I do like the addition of the Corki here because of how kind of like AD heavy your jungle topper, your jungle Baron laner. So it does, again, give you a nice mixed damage profile, but we may have a little skirmish here for this Rift Herald on the top side of the map.
And for the Scuttle Crab, actually, another Rift Herald. The Rift Herald's another 3 minutes away, and that is going to be a full-on engagement. Have they got the kill down? Yes, they do secure it, but at what cost? Veil's taken low. Oh, Acolyte just missing out there. Doesn't quite get caught out, and that's going to cost Acolyte his life. The flash comes through, and they will get the stun and lock him down. So, A 2-for-0 start for Game Lord. That is just about perfect.
They're going to pick up the Rift Herald, Rift Cutlery relatively easily. Zefta here. Again, better duelist in the early game than the Fiora. They picked their fights really well, and unfortunately, Queso were just a little slow to respond. Redemption and Ibu were just 1v1ing on the bot side of the map. You see here, nice stun and rather taunt coming out from Vejos in the middle lane. That was brilliant from him. And that's where you can see the strength of the Galio when it comes to the anti-melee, and the follow-up there from Random and Zefta was fantastic. Acolyte a little late to the fight, and that's a great start for Game Lord.
Yeah, would have. I just wonder, would it set him to level 4 if it had got that pull in there? Didn't quite work out for him, and oh no, the Acolyte's in trouble again, and this is going to be a tower kill. It will be. Under he goes. Random tanks up the turrets, but he's got the lifesteal, and it's another go in the way of Game Lord.
And they're trying to punish Redemption on the bottom side of the map here, but it's just not working out for them. Vayne now level 5, going to become even more difficult to lock down, and Game Lord really coming out with a bang. It wasn't just a fluke versus Na'Vi. It wasn't just versus a weak team. They are actually taking the fight straight to Team Queso here. And Game Lord really looking like the kind of like the full power former selves that we expect from these guys.
They're going for the bottom. They're going for the bottom. The full collapse is coming in. And I'll tell you what, Ibu might be able to get away from this one, but I'm not sure Memorized will. In the end, does get sidestepped. That was a full 4-man excursion, though, so left the mid lane a little open. And nothing ventured from it, but the blue buff, of course, is going to be back up for Zefta.
Still a great start here for Game Lord. They've got the gold in all the right places. Zefta now has got a decent bunch on this Riven that's going to allow him to be a lot more impactful when it comes to these smaller skirmishes around the neutral objectives. And speaking of which, both Rift Herald and Dragon are spawning in around 15 seconds. Yeah,
a 500 gold advantage over your jungle, and that is what it means. The Black Cleaver completed before the Dragon comes up, and that could be a very important item. Of course, you can see the Trinity Force trying to come in for Andre, but won't be ready. And you can see they're just getting the wards down right now, so the difference being that Game Lord have timed it, they've been back, they've all bought, they're coming back for a fight.
Really wondering whether Zefta just commits to the Rift Herald here. I think he does, right?
Yeah.
They've got the River Scuttler on the
I think
Dragon.
they want both. I think they're going to try and nick both.
I think they might. I mean, you can see that Team Queso now know that they don't have priority over the River Scuttler. They're going to head straight over
quick
to...
they are.
Exactly, they're doing it super quickly, especially because they have that Black Cleaver. It makes it much easier to take this Rift Herald 2. And they might even be...
And look, Random's already coming. Random's going down south. So here we go. Zefta's going to get that down, and here they go. They're going down. So you can see Show and Redemption just trying to delay things as much as they can. The rest of the team will arrive, and the Dragon will be theirs. That is a 2-4 anyone will take, and that is the gold advantage that they've gained. Giving them that advantage, Andre goes in, tries to get it locked down, tries to get the smite fight, doesn't work out. Random picks him up. Memorize now in trouble. Random stun will be back up any second now. He has to get away from that one. They block the damage from Ibu. You'll love to see it, and he has to Valkyrie away.
Package dropped in an ineffective location as well. Now, one saving grace for Queso is Acolyte went straight up top lane. Whether Random can get back there in time and stop that top lane tier 1 from going down, I don't know. He is working his way up, but this is great stuff from Game Lord. Just absolutely covering the map. Both global objectives taken very early on, and Random is able to get there. Acolyte will swing his axe, but Random will shrug it off. The Crocodile in a great spot.
Yeah, just a quick apprehend. Let's have a look at this. This is going into the pit. You can see Explosive Cast tries to brush them away from it and get the smite fight in there, but just not enough. And the damage was a little low. I didn't actually catch the vision difference there, but in the end, it was a escape for Ibu. So, Scuttlecrabs have been picked up as well, just all that off in the picture-in-picture. And that equates to a 2,000 gold lead, just 6 minutes into this game, a 4-0 advantage taken. Still no turrets yet, though.
No, but that top lane tier 1 is close to going down for Team K, so if they just, an improper back timing or a mismanagement of resources, they could drop that first tower of the game. And with Memorize showing himself up there, they are going for it. I wonder if Galio is getting in position for the hero's entrance here. It looks like he is.
Zefta's here. Gets spotted out by the ward, and that will force them to back. So they didn't quite get it yet, but as you say, it's just a matter of time, I feel, more than anything there. Quick back down the bottom lane, forces them away as Ruiz comes down here now. So Rui looking to see if he can try and force something from this. So switching up the lanes, trying to send the duo pair of Ibu and Memorize now to that mid lane to try and get some punishment down, and starting the split early here.
They are going back into that 1-3-1 that they did. They are now going to collapse resources onto this bottom side of the map.
Oh, they've all passed the ward. They've all passed the ward. They know exactly what's coming. Look at that. The Galio's there as well. Just a little blow in there, but it will be a blue steal it away. You can see they're transferring immediately away to that. Acolyte trying to confirm and steal it away, but don't matter. Random's already there. I'm watching this off the minimap at the moment. As you can see, Acolyte was trying to lock it down there. And just simply trying to lock down that blue buff as well, the other side.
I like what Queso do in terms of rotating their bot lane to mid very early on into the game, because it allows them to kind of roam as a squad and look for tier 1 tower dives if those tier 1s are still available. And it allows them to be a bit more flexible in terms of gaining pressure and gaining control of the enemy jungle. See Memorized here.
They've come back. They've come back and they've completely caught Redemption off guard. He will get the flash away in the end there, but you can see the stun comes in. The hero's entrance is enormous and it gives Redemption the kill. The one thing you know with League of Legends, with Wild Rift, whatever the game, you don't give Vayne kills.
Almost caught him out there, Redemption. Managed to get a huge condemn off straight into the hero's entrance from Vayne. They're going to dive Ibu as well. Oof. Killing spree for Zefter. Gamelord are running rampant in this game.
On the Rift Herald.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try and open up this mid lane tier 1 with the Rift Herald here. They've got a lot of pressure. Acolyte himself is not going to be able to defend.
And this is buying time as well. Redemption down the bottom. He should be able to take that tier 1 out as well as they go deep on this. Acolyte in trouble. Andre getting caught out. He will go down as well. And Gamelord shout themselves into power. 8-0, 6,000 gold lead.
You can hear them just absolutely pumped at the way they've been playing this early game. 8-0, they are making Queso look silly right now. They are absolutely schooling them in this early game. And I love how much passion we're getting from the Gamelord crew. It is really, really excellent to see these guys pumped up at LAN and Team Queso trying to get their first tower of the game here, claw a bit of gold back in their favor, but Zefter is here.
Zefter's coming for it. Ruiz, he hasn't took the tower down. Finally it will fall, but he got two hits onto Ruiz there. Memorized is in all sorts of trouble. Here comes Veils. He should be able to catch him out. This explosive cast not going to force him away, but he's tanky enough to avoid the damage.
You have Random covering mid here, so Queso managed to bait Gamelord into a little bit of a mismatch of power on the map right now. Mid lane getting died. Is Random legitimately just 2v1ing?
Sure, why not? Ibu's there as well. The top tower will go to Queso, so the first objective of the game does... the second objective of the game does go their way. Let's not get carried away just yet, by the way, because there is still... It's a 6,000 gold advantage, yes. Oh, okay. We'll get carried away.
I think you get carried away if you're Vayne 1v1 the Diana.
Oh dear. Yeah, if a Vayne can 1v1 a Diana, you're mid laner, that's a problem.
1v1's the person who's supposed to kill her, then I think you're in a good spot if you're Gamelord. They're going to pick up the second dragon of the game with relative ease right now, and Gamelord are in a super, super strong spot.
It has been a near perfect game. They have, of course, lost those 2 turrets who, before everyone out there in chat does jump on me saying perfect game, doesn't, you don't lose turrets. But in terms of 10-0, it has been absolutely perfect for them. Objective-wise, both dragons dominating control so far in the fight. And I gotta be honest, we said it in the game against the Unicorns a lot of Queso just don't want a team fight right now. Well, they can't now.
You're going to go straight back onto Ruiz here. Can't go for the tower dive. Random did pop his ultimate though, so has to be a little careful as the rest of Team Queso are trying to barrel down towards him to protect this tier 2.
He just doesn't care, does he?
No,
he just doesn't care. The rest of his team up on the top of the map at the moment. Oh, he's on a ward.
He's not going to die to Ibu.
Ibu's just going to rocket
him. Annoying him.
Yeah,
he's going to annoy him.
Right, okay. What do Queso do? What do they do? To try and... I mean, ordinarily you would say turtle up, but I feel it may have snowballed out of control. Well, I think they simply need to try and get a risky Baron steal or something like that, I feel.
They need to kind of catch Gamelord off guard, maybe sort of punish some of the Gamelord overextensions that we've seen in this game. The problem is that if you turtle up, you're going into a Vayne. Like, you don't want to turtle up into a Vayne. Vayne's just going to get stronger.
Let feed,
yeah. She's just going to get stronger and stronger. She likes time. Vayne is very happy with time. So you've got to be very careful if you're Team Queso. I think you have to pick your moments here. You do have a range advantage versus Gamelord. That's one thing that you can play in your favor. The Corki himself, as this game progresses, will be enough to give you a range advantage, and that's probably what you've got to look to play around if you're Team Queso. Corki is going to be your saving grace here.
And I got to be honest with the Game Lord, while they could go for Baron, I don't think they need to. Ruiz once again around the side here. Zefta comes down. He's in trouble. Ruiz can't get away from this one, and he's going to get locked down in the end there. Zefta picking himself up another kill. A 5-0-1, 9,700 gold. Zefta, he is very fed.
It's DeAndre coming in, trying to find an angle in this team fight, but he can't. And I think one of the things we're seeing with the Team Queso style of comp, when they try to play these 1-3-1 strong solo lane style comps, only good when you're ahead. When you're behind, it just serves your solo laners up for free kills in the side lanes.
Random has, well, the third item pops in, the stacks, he just buys it outright. Just, oh my god.
11,000 gold on Random, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's just spent it as well, so he is going to be, if not a beast already, an absolute monster when he pops that Dominus next time out. And he's just going to shove that bot wave, and you can see they're almost trying to bait the fight in and around Baron here, trying to draw something out. Veos in there, Zefta wants to jump in. Yeah, here they go, trying to bait something out from Andre. Andre will just have to back away from that and give up the buff.
Zefta will smite it away, nearly level 12 himself. They're trying to set up control around this Baron pit. They have Random on the other side of the map right now. Now, Random has got the Hextech belt the belt enchant. Unfortunately, doesn't have the teleport, so can't respond to cross-map plays. But right now, there are no... Oh, Ruiz just sneaks that one away. There is no teleport to contend with on the side of Team Queso either. So, you know, if you're matching Random, you're committing resources that you're not going to be able to translate elsewhere either.
And in terms of... I've got to be honest, I don't think they need to risk a Baron. I don't think there's no reason to. Dragon's coming up in 25 seconds. We'll take that. Thank you very much. And you can see they're just quite happy to keep them pushing. But I would say the disadvantage of that is you are giving more and more gold to Queso. As longer the game goes on, we know how dangerous a team fight can be. 13 minutes and counting. We're going to be looking at least 16, 17 minutes this game's going to run, I feel. But here we go. Here comes the claps. They're going to try and get around the side. Acolyte, the focus target at the moment. They'll take Andre if they can get him. Meanwhile, Ruiz down the bottom. He has to go gold, and Random just backs away from the turret and tries to walk back in again. Dominus is available. There we go. Gets it down. Ruiz done and slides out with ease. And that is, as you say, the split laner trying to do what he can. He just can't do it, and that's under the turret.
But you're seeing the complete flip from what we saw from Team Queso last time. Random is willing and can 1v1 easily.
Yes.
He has created natural side lane pressure through split pushing because he's able to go for the 1v1, but we have a fight here.
Trying to come in for it. Redemption was the focus target. The challenge comes in, but he's never going to get met because he is just absolutely laying damage down. The Hero's entrance gets his Acolyte off guard. Ibu in all sorts of trouble. Zefta going to lock him down, and in comes Acolyte. Down he goes, and that one picked off. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be game. And I've got to be honest, a 16-0 domination coming out from Game Lord. They have decimated Team Queso here. You know, Team Queso looked fantastic against Unicorns Aloft up until they weren't. But Game Lord have made them look absolutely average.
16-0. You hear it right at the end there. 16-0. They absolutely threw everything at them from the very get-go, and I think you saw the weaknesses of Fiora jungle. I think we said it. Riven jungle into Fiora is quite nice because Riven likes the duel early on, and so does Fiora, but Riven wins those. Great reactions, great collapse from them around that first Rift Scattler, and I'm going to be honest with you, that was the snowball.
From the very beginning, the first Scuttlecraft fight,
and they just made it keep going. They kept going. They kept going, and they kept going.
I think what was most terrifying about that was, though, they had the early snowball, but they had the Vayne in the back pocket.
Yeah, exactly,
the late game was all there. So the longer it went, the more time that you had to see Queso go for the recovery. Well, the Vayne's still powering up. You'll not dug yourself out of that trench yet.
The Vayne soloed a Diana. Like once that happens, it's like, well, what are you going to do now?
We talked about it in draft. That's why we love the Vayne pick, because no matter, even if your strategy doesn't go the way you want it, you always have this X factor in a team fight later on. Like Vayne is one of those AD carries, a little bit like a Jinx. Vayne is one of those AD carries that you give them enough time, doesn't matter what the comp is, they may be able to outplay, they may be able to just get those team fights rolling, and that's why I really like the Redemption Vayne pick there, because it's like a catch-all. Like we have a super strong top side, a super strong top jungle, and we're happy to go for it. And that meant that if that didn't work out, they always had the Vayne to back them up.
All right, well, let's go ahead and grab a quick moment with Viperoon. He's over in the Weatherman section to break down a play.
Well, goodness me, that was a game of Wild Rift, wasn't it? Let's talk Let's talk about that final fight, shall we? Because it was a bit tricky to go through and kind of pick out exactly what I wanted. It was just picks here and there, but we got a massive team fight at the end. So, those of you might have spotted a couple of things. First thing you'll spot. It's not a great time to be Team Queso. Also, second thing you'll spot. One sad, dead Diana. She's not going to be involved in this fight. Baron's being taken by Game Lord, and what we're going to do, we're going to just run through this one, realistically, because honestly, the game's been going as it's been going, right? You can see all of the abilities are being layered. We can pause up here. Redemption's actually focused reasonably okay in this fight. Like, Team Queso are doing the things that they should be doing, realistically. They need to be contesting this. The problem is, again, we'll just circle this again. That's a very sad number there. That's a significantly happier number. And the fight is just so easy. Redemption on the Vayne, we talked about how strong this champion can get in the later stages. We're 14 minutes in, and it's the later stages already. So she's just able to run away. We're going to remove that. We'll give the sad dead Diana another sad face before we continue. There we go. And we're just going to run this through. Redemption, untouched, just cleaning up. In the front line, so much work being done by Riven. We've seen it all day today, and it's really just a cleanup job. They clean up the fight. They kill everyone who's trying to stand in the way of them. And actually, we'll pause that very quickly to give a few more very sad players on this side. Game Lord just win it. So, very one-sided game. Hopefully Team Queso will be able to bounce back, and Game Lord, let's hope they can do it again a little bit more. Back to you on the desk.
Thank you so much, Will, for pointing out who the sad players were in that instance. I'm not really sure we needed more illustration on that.
I mean, I think the only other thing you could break down in that fight was the Scudgrab fight. That was it. That was there really wasn't team fights. It was just getting picked off left and right. They just got battered. A 16-0, I mean, it was a stomp.
I mean, that was a heartbreaking defeat for Team Queso. It's the second one of the day, I'd say.
0-2.
I mean, 0-2 they're currently at, right? Let's take a look at the rankings all together, though, so we can see how we are halfway through the day. Because Team Queso and Na'Vi, to be fair, both on the cusp of being eliminated.
I'm glad Carmeline wasn't doing the section there, because I don't know where the sad faces would have been. She'd have had one herself, I think, with Team Queso going 0-2. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we knew Game Lord could do this, right? We knew they were very strong, and I think they've proved it right there. Random looking absolutely dominant in that game.
Yeah, Random and Anna, and absolutely Zefter as well. Zefter's been a real standout. I'm very excited for Game Lord versus Unicorns of Love.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
100% yes.
A really, really awesome fight.
They're just setting themselves up for success. We're halfway through the day. You've got two teams sitting pretty at the top. It's an uphill climb for Na'Vi and Team Queso to even potentially contend with that first place spot and get the pick of opponent. But I'm actually thinking, hang on a minute, this is more about just a battle of survival for those two teams, the way things are currently going.
Yeah, it's and obviously with the CIS battle as well. I just hope that Na'Vi can pull something out here. Obviously 0-2. Yeah. They have been kind of swept aside in both of their games. I'm going to say this quietly because they're setting up right now. But yeah, both games does not look good, and the fact is that Unicorns of Love looked incredible.
Unicorns of Love look like the best team here. Honestly, they've looked amazing.
Yeah, and we're expecting to see more of the same. They are getting set up already for that next game. Lads, have you got any predictions? Because you're not actually going to be casting the next one, so you can kind of absolve yourself a little bit.
Well, I can tell you one clear prediction that we're both going to say is that there's a team in pink that may well win this
Unicorns of Love, I think, next game. I think Game Lord will beat Unicorns of Love. I'm just...
all right.
You know what, though?
But I think it'll be very close.
But this game next, coming up, is going to be a different game entirely for Unicorns of Love. It's a CIS vs CIS game. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy. There's no doubt about it.
All right, as D-Man predicts, it's going to be a very messy game coming on the screen later. We're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we've got URL going up against Na'Vi.